Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and So's. My name is Derek, and today I'm joined by Karen,
Hello.
and we're going to be discussing what's happening on GH this week. We're going to be discussing episodes that aired from June 23rd to June 27th, 2025. Tommy, roll the credits, and we'll get right into it. All right, so we'll get right into it. So at the gallery, Kai tells Trina he accepted Drew's internship offer and it wouldn't require him to spend much time in DC. Trina still does not trust Drew, as she should not.
Who
And
trusts
tells Kai
Drew?
this, and but ultimately she decides to give Kai her support. She kisses on the cheek before he heads off to Drew's. So now we'll talk about Jordan, Curtis, and Portia. This was not not it this week.
I don't know what's happening, but I don't like it.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I was really excited. Like when Portia was blackmailing Brad and Brad was blackmailing Portia, I was having so much fun.
Me too. It was great.
And now it's like Curtis is just, I don't know, peeing on everybody's Cheerios. It's terrible.
And I hate that Portia's regressing back into the character that we used to hate. Like, it's
when we were calling her Bad News Bears Portia.
Yeah, she's back to being Bad News Bear, and I'm not into it. I liked the Portia that we were seeing before. It was great, but
yeah, I think it's just time for these women to cut their losses from Curtis and move on.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we're at the Metro Court pool. Jordan and Curtis are reminiscing, and then Portia and Isaiah arrive, and Portia sees them together, and she is not too thrilled at all.
Would you be?
No. Curtis gets a phone call from Trina, and he has to take off. And then Portia confronts Jordan about hanging on, her feelings for Curtis.
Yeah. Why does Jordan act surprised that Portia would do this?
Yeah.
Like, it's bizarre to me. You're hanging out with your ex-husband all the time. You don't have any kids or any jobs or anything in common. It just, from the outside, looks like you're trying to take her husband, which basically she said to Anna she was doing anyway. So Portia's not wrong.
Right. So Portia ends up throwing a drink in her face.
Because it's 1985.
It was,
It's dynasty time.
Dynasty, yeah. Isaiah tries to settle everything down, and then Jordan ends up thanking him privately after Portia leaves. Isaiah sees that Curtis is still an issue, just like Sidwell, when it would come to his own romantic chances with Jordan. So I guess he's glad that he didn't pursue it. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like they don't know what to do with Isaiah right now. So he's just kind of being tested with everyone. And he's a good character. He just doesn't have a storyline right now. It's a shame. If only they had medical stories for a doctor at their hospital.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? All right, so Curtis arrives at Ava's art gallery to see Trina, and she fills him in on Kai taking Drew's internship, and she is not happy about it. Trina also confesses that Kai knows about Curtis's plans to find Jacinda, and she's asked him how much trouble Portia is in. Curtis covers and says that it's something to do with him, and that didn't. And I don't think Trina bought that. I didn't buy it either.
Mr. I don't like lying. Lying is a terrible thing to do, is immediately lying to Trina to protect her, which is exactly what Portia did. So, hello?
It doesn't make it. Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
It's fine when he does it.
It's not fine when Portia does it, but it's fine when he does it. So, yeah. Okay. So you're hold yourself to your standards, Curtis.
I know, even with the whole thing with Michael, when he was like going against Drew and working with Michael, yeah, he told Portia about it after he did everything he was doing. He never asked her if she was cool with that. And that kind of directly put her into the situation she's in now. So really, Curtis? Really?
Yeah.
So this sucks, because I love Curtis.
I know, I do too. Then Portia and Curtis end up meeting up, and she's very eager to talk to him about what happened with Jordan at the pool. But he quickly says they need to talk about Trina instead. So he tells Portia about their conversation and that Kai knows about his plans to find Jacinda. and he's hoping that Kai won't say anything to Drew, but that's not gonna happen. Okay, so we're in Anna's office now, and Jordan opens up to Anna about Portia throwing the drink in her face. That was fun. And then Portia says she's not wrong about Jordan still carrying a torch for Curtis, but Jordan admits that Jordan admits that she still does have feelings for Curtis. So.
And the problem with that is Jordan must suddenly have amnesia to forget how poorly their relationship ended, and that he did the exact same thing to her that he's doing to Portia right now.
Right.
And it was even worse because Jordan was holding on to secrets that were work related, and she had no ability to tell Curtis.
Right.
And he still held her to this standard of she's not allowed to have any secrets. Now he can have all the secrets he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone pointed out on Reddit, Nina has a lot of secrets that she tells Curtis all the time about terrible things she's doing. And he has no issue with that. So is it only the women he dates that have to be on this higher standard than everyone else around them?
It must be.
It's just bizarre.
He has this idea of a perfect woman that he needs to attain that he's never going to attain, it seems like.
Yeah, because they're people. And yeah, Portia can do crazy stuff. And you're like, oh my God, Portia, why? But you married her. You knew what you were getting into when you married her. And then you're like, oh, she's not perfect enough. I feel like this is the same thing that happened between Lucas and Brad.
Yeah.
Like Lucas's standard was like, be a perfect person or I'll make you into a perfect person. And he's like, I never wanted that for you, Brad, except every conversation was him wanting that for Brad.
Yeah.
I love Brad. I hope Brad comes back.
Me too. And then Anna suggests to Jordan that it's best for her and Curtis to have an honest discussion about the relationship. So
Anna's like, you could try communicating like an adult.
Right. And then back in Curtis's office, Portia refuses to let him delay their conversation about their marriage. This is later. Curtis complains about Portia's lies, so she acknowledges her mistakes and wants to move forward. Portia worries about that Curtis' standards are too high, which they are. So she called him out for being a hypocrite, which was great. I enjoyed that.
I did too.
And then she gets emotional and she wants some hope for their future together. So she and Curtis eventually kiss, and he throws things off the desk, and it looks like they're about to make love. And then Jordan walks in, and Portia's gloating about this. She's really excited to see Jordan.
I got the prize. Man calls everyone, names and is terrible to. Like, who wants this man at this point? Sorry, Curtis. I mean, you're a very attractive man, but like, I would not want to be with him if I had to walk on eggshells all the time.
Yeah.
And why fight with another woman over a man? Just leave that man.
Curtis definitely noticed that Portia's face, so I think it's gonna not turn out very well for her.
No, but you know what? In the end, I think it's better for her if they break up, if that's how he feels about their marriage, because she's never going to be able to overcome this high standard he set for her, because she's a person.
Yeah. Okay, so then we'll get into the press conference next, which was fun. We're at Drew's office, and Martin tells Tracy that they're moving ahead with the press conference. Drew is thrilled when Martin gives her the news that Tracy's going to cooperate, and he's also really excited because Bill accepted his proposal. So back at the Quartermain mansion, Tracy tells Brooklyn about the press conference, and Brooklyn pushes Tracy to suck it up and tell the truth. Oh, well. Back with Tracy, Drew managed to rile her up again right before the press conference.
He was too smug.
He's so smug. So this sets Tracy off, and she decides she cannot go through with this. She even hesitates to call him Drew Quartermain.
She looked like she was fighting back the urge to vomit.
It really was. It was great. It was so funny.
She just looked at him and she thought, like, oh my God, how is this person related to my brother Alan?
Yeah. So she says she has to tell the truth. She rants about Drew taking the ketamine and planting it in his car. Tracy says that Drew is an embarrassment and disgrace to her family. Ask her nephew, whose marriage he destroyed. And then the congressman should be thrown out of office the way Monica threw him out of the Quartermain mansion. Which was great. I enjoyed that. But everyone's shocked by what Tracy's saying, but I was loving it. The whole press was
Shocked. They're so dumb. Of course she did that. As soon as he got up on the podium and started laying it on too thick, I was like, he's not going to get the result he wants because she can't stomach all of that. It's a humiliation ritual and she's not having it.
Yeah.
She's a Quartermaine. He should have known better.
So then we have Cody appearing, and he insists that he was wrong. Tracy is wrong that Drew didn't plant the ketamine. So Martin is happy to have Cody come up and defend Drew, but little does he know that Martin is not going to defend, or Cody is not going to defend Drew at all. And I love when Cody was like, "I'm no fan of the congressman, but he didn't plant the ketamine. I didn't even vote for him."
That guy sucks, but he didn't plant the ketamine.
And then Cody says that he dropped the ketamine in Tracy's car because he had to take Hades, one of the horses, for a procedure.
I think that's Tracy's horse, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so. And
of course, her horse is named Hades.
So then he produces a crumbled up receipt to prove that it was from the vet. And then Tracy grabs the receipt from him. And she says that she's going to have her lawyer analyze it. And then Martin tries to grab it, and then he falls flat face down. It's really funny.
This was really the highlight of the week for me.
It really was. It was.
I could not stop laughing. I was texting my mom while Drew was giving his little speech, and I was like, "She's never gonna stand for that. She can't."
Right.
I love her so much. Jane Elliott is great.
Yeah, Drew rages at Martin about this, and he says he looks guiltier than ever, and he's really upset. And he's talking to Kai about this, and he's worried he's going to have to call off the wedding with Willow, and because his reputation took another hit that he can't handle. So this is when Kai, which we knew was coming, decides to tell Drew about Curtis's plan to find Jacinda. So, and I'm still mad at Kai, even though I knew he was going to do it, but.
I've known he was going to do it. How long ago was I saying this? Like, this guy, he's too young to know what he's getting himself into.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a bad kid. I think he has misplaced loyalty.
I agree. And Drew has him snowed like he does Willow. Like, so Tracy is pleased with Cody, and she admits to Brooklyn that it was Michael's idea, which was really fun. So later, Cody turns down Tracy's offer to pay him, and he says he enjoyed sticking it to Drew and didn't take the money because it was a favor for a friend, which was really nice. I love Cody. Why are you getting rid of him? I love Josh Kelly. No. Well,
he's been so much fun lately.
Yeah, well, not getting rid of him. He's going on recurrent status, but still. All right, so later we're at GH in Martin's room, and he undergoes an examination for his back. Martin wants to sue Tracy, but Rick doesn't think he has a case. And Martin
didn't touch him.
Right.
He launched himself at her.
And right now, Martin cannot afford his $15,000 retainer.
You can't afford me.
Right? And then Martin's financial woes get even worse because his insurance has lapsed and he is no longer covered. Deanna informs him of this.
Oh my God, America.
Poor Martin.
Martin's having a bad day, and he should never get married again. Learn your lesson, Martin. Marriage is not for you, sir.
Do not get married, Martin. No. Okay, so we're with Nina and Willow now. Nina pushes Willow to wait to have a real wedding with Drew.
She's trying so hard to save this woman.
She is, and Nina felt that they're rushing into it, and it's going to be a mistake. Willow points out that Martin approved this strategy, even though to us it makes no sense why she would want to marry Drew, because the judge.
Also, Martin did not exactly approve this strategy. That's not what happened.
Right.
He suggested it might help.
Happen.
I know. Everything that she says, I'm just like, are you okay? Should we call for help?
So eventually Willow agrees to think about what Nina said. But she's pretty sold on the quickie wedding idea.
I think it would look bad to the court if she had a quickie wedding.
If
she goes to the courthouse and gets married instead of having an event, the court's going to see it exactly the way that Martin said.
Right, exactly.
That they're doing it to shore up their defenses to take the kids. And the judge won't look kindly on that.
No. And then Michael prepares, he's dining with Carly outside the Metro Court. Carly calls Michael out for being distracted, and he admits he's worried about Dave's christening and whether the family celebration would be cruel to Willow, which is not.
He's just soft. Like, he loved her. He still probably loves her, and he wanted her to be able to go, but they can't seem to get along because of Drew.
Michael points out that Drew is the real issue, and he hopes that someday Willow will see this and that she can have a relationship with her children again. So later, Nina approaches Carly alone and warns her that Willow is going to marry Drew, and she wants Carly to get through to Michael. Nina feels that if Michael allowed Willow to see the kids, that she would eventually decide to not marry Drew, which I don't think nothing's going to stop Willow. I'm sorry, Nina.
No, it's wishful thinking on Nina's part. Like, you can see that Nina's getting more and more desperate each attempt because she can see the hole that's being dug for Willow, and Willow is just completely oblivious to it.
Yeah. So Nina's still on this, trying to get Carly to talk Michael into having a generous visitation schedule. And even if Drew doesn't come with her, Nina thinks that Willow eventually will see that Drew's help. She doesn't need Drew's help to have a relationship with her children. But Carly argues that this is on Drew, and there's no way that Willow's going to give him up. She's right.
Carly in her safari dress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're getting Carly. Okay. So Michael and Willow are having a confrontation at the Quartermain mansion. Michael vows that if Willow marries Drew, he makes sure that she never sees their kids again.
Did you notice in this conversation again, she seems to think she's the only one who has a right to the children?
Yeah, she still continues to say that.
Yeah, she continues to act as if Michael is not one half of their children's lives. And yet she thinks it's so unfair that he would cut her out when her intentions are to cut him out in the exact same way. It is bizarre.
Does Willow think she's like the Virgin Mary and like she was the next Immaculate Conception?
Yeah. She birthed these children herself. She raised them herself. Michael was
did. So, okay.
This is not a scenario where Michael was a fly-by-night dad who was like working and not there. He was constantly with the kids. Right. He was, like, every time you saw him in a scene, he had Wiley. It just seems weird to me that she acts like he abandoned their marriage, he abandoned their kids. And meanwhile, the only time he abandoned the family was when he almost died and he had to go in for medical treatment.
Yeah, as Diane said in the custody trial, he went to get the best medical care, and that's abandonment. Okay.
Also, she signed off on it. I know I keep saying that, but you can't say he abandoned the kids. But I okayed it. I said it was fine.
Willow says that she's going to have more compassion for Michael than she did when eventually she gets custody.
Really? Because that conversation that Drew and Willow had with Carly suggests no.
Yeah, she won't.
She's going to be like, you can see the children twice a year. Isn't that generous?
Yes. Also, okay, so Willow brings up the whole Germany situation, how she flew all the way out there only to have Michael turn away. But Michael says that never happened. And Michael calls Drew out I love this, for destructive, manipulative fraud. And he is. And Willow continues to defend Drew, as she always does. And Willow vows that after she marries Drew, she's going to get her children back. And then she storms out.
Poor Michael. He was so upset, and emotionally wrecked during this entire conversation. Because imagine you were married to somebody and you thought they were one person, and then you're finding out day by day that person did not exist.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. Well, these were great scenes, by the way. I think Rory Gibson and Caitlin McMullen both did a really great job.
Yeah, they've been killing it lately.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so back with Nina. She summons Jason to meet at the Metrocor patio so he can be her backup.
Summons Jason like a genie. Fix my problems, Jason.
Carly refuses to help, so now she's going to go to Jason because he's the next closest person to Michael.
She's like, listen. And he's like, well, okay.
What do you want me to do?
I kill people, Nina. What do you want me here for?
Then Willow pops up and assumes that Michael sent Jason to intimidate her mom. Willow insists that she's marrying Joe, and Jason just shrugs his shoulders like, okay. I don't care what you do.
I feel like Jason is us now. He's just like, all right,
Whatever you want.
Get the kids now. Michael hates Drew. You're dumb. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
His face is really great.
I love his facial expressions.
Yeah, Steve Burton killing it since he came back.
Yeah.
This is my favorite run of Jason, and I normally can't stand Jason because I'm not a big fan of the whole
100% agreement with you. It's amazing.
He's been killing it. I can't wait until Britt comes back and they give him a little romance again. I think it's going to be super fun.
Yes. Well, we're back with Carly now, and she fills Michael in on Nina seeking help to stop Willow, Drew from getting married. Michael plans to delay the visitation hearing as long as possible, and he's telling Diane this, and he also wants to make sure that Willow gets nothing. So, vengeful Michael is back.
I don't know if he's being vengeful or I think he's afraid. I think he's afraid of what Drew is doing to Willow and what Drew could possibly do to the kids, because parental alienation is a thing, and Drew has already started working on that.
He already did Wiley, so
yeah. So I think he's right to do it. I think maybe the kids should be in therapy right now because I don't know. All this is going on. It's a lot for those little kids to deal with. I mean, maybe not Amelia. She doesn't understand, but Wiley is starting to notice that things are weird.
We also got an AJ mention, our favorite character from the past. Carly warns Michael that his kids might resent them for keeping their mother away from them. So, and then she did the same thing with AJ. But
I love these cute little moments of faux accountability from Carly.
Yeah.
I mean, she literally doused him in alcohol in an alley and pretended he had a relapse after drugging him. So, like, come on, Carly. Like, you didn't just go, you can't see the kids. Like, you're like, I tried to murder their father. I left him in an alley to die. I was like, he'll be fine.
Right.
And yet the children will resent her. Yeah, because you tried to kill their father.
Yeah. Okay. So we're at the Quartermain mansion now, and Sasha is with Felicia in the kitchen, and she wants her to be Daisy's godmother, which is
cute.
Felicia's a great choice. Felicia happily agrees, and then
because it wasn't Maxie though.
Yeah, true.
But I'm fine with it. I love Felicia, and I feel like Sasha is craving a mother.
Well, I mean, I guess Felicia really stepped up for Sasha when she was pregnant. That makes sense. Yeah,
it makes sense. I'm not against it.
Yeah.
Anytime you give an excuse for me to see more Felicia, I'm down.
So Sasha finds a milk carton in the cabinets, and she's wondering what's going on with her. She's brain. So then we're in Daisy's room, and someone mysterious continues to watch over the baby and approaches her crib. I think it's Willow, but
I don't care. I really don't care. I was like Cody when Cody comes in and he's like, "Are you sure the baby can't do that?" I was like that. I'm like, I don't care about this baby. Too young for me to care about.
Cody brings in a stuffed animal, which was a present from Robert and Holly.
Big giant elephant.
Yes, it was really cute.
Cute.
Sasha says she is texting with Robert, but not Holly as much. But I'm glad they mentioned them.
FaceTiming, actually, every morning at like 10 o'clock in the morning to see the baby.
Yeah, cute. Sasha is taken aback when she checks in on Daisy, and she's turned around in the opposite direction. And she's.
Do you know that I didn't notice?
You didn't notice?
I did not notice the baby was in a different jumper. I didn't notice that the baby was turned around. I was just like, okay, it's a baby. There's nothing wrong with it. I thought she would be bloody or something. The way Sasha reacted. And I was just like, you live in a house with 18 other people. You don't think somebody else could have came in and changed the baby? Like, yeah, I was not disturbed.
Also, like, don't they have a nanny? Like, don't they have...
Yeah.
Don't they have like other people looking in on her? Like anybody could have done it.
Listen, they have a nanny. They have 18 moms in the house. Like Olivia's in the house. Monica's in the house. All of these women have had children. They've all raised babies. And a lot of them are fathers. How do you know that Ned didn't walk in and change the baby?
Right, exactly.
Any one of them walked in and saw a crying baby in a wet diaper.
Or it could have been Olivia. It could have been anybody.
Yeah, it could have been anybody. Except Leo, because he hasn't been on in months.
Tracy did mention Leo, though, this week.
Yeah, because he's probably in school. So we might see him. And we usually see the kids end of August, early September.
Yeah. So we'll get to Sidwell. Sidwell tells Lucy that he made Sonny an offer that he couldn't refuse, but he still refused to sell him the Pierce. Lucy wants to be a part of the sale, and she thinks that she can get the deal to happen. So she takes off to try.
This was a manipulative conversation from beginning to end.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't like that. He used Lucy like that.
Right.
And I was saying to my mom, I'm like, I wish that Lucy had like Kevin or Felicia, somebody around to tell her that this is, even Mac, to tell her that what's going on, because she gets blinded by a cute man.
She does.
Even Scott would have been like, he's giving you a heart.
And
she would have, but she wouldn't have listened to Scotty. She would have listened to Kevin, but not Scotty.
No. But Marco is also there, and after Lucy, he suggests to his father that Sonny would not be an impediment for his father much longer, even though he couldn't go into details. Sidwell acknowledges that he didn't want to get his hands dirty when it comes to Sonny, but he will if he has to.
Yep.
So we're at Sonny's place. He's talking to Jason about ADA Turner losing her star witness soon because Natalia is going to Belize, apparently. Sonny thinks that expected Natalia would deliver the incriminating by now, but she hasn't. So Sonny isn't concerned about Natalia double-crossing him, so he thinks that the deal is done. So we'll see about that. So Lucy then shows up with a basket of oranges, which is really funny.
Cute. It was a big fruit basket. And she looked beautiful, by the way. I like that dress.
And she tries to make the deal after all, and Sonny still refuses, even though he brought her delicious oranges.
It was cute, though, because even though she did push, at the end, she's like, I hope my pushing didn't do anything to our friendship. And he's like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
They've known each other for a long time, and she was Luke's friend, so she's safe from Sonny.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So Natalia finally hands over her safe deposit key and lets Sonny know the proof against him was inside of it. At Sonny's, he pressures Natalia for an answer since they're running out of time. Sonny plays up the lovely house and the new life in Belize that Natalia is going to be living.
Listen, I'd go to Belize.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, I got nothing going on.
I got nothing. It was decided that Natalia would secretly leave for Belize on Friday, but Sonny stressed the importance of not tipping off Turner since Marco is working on a deal for her. So Sonny acknowledges that Sidwell is a bad guy, and she assures Sonny that Marco wasn't like his father. So, don't worry about Marco. Sonny has
and he says the same thing he always does. I have no problem with your son as long as he doesn't get in my way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then after she leaves Sonny's place, Natalia finds Marco at the law office, and she says she was there as his mother, not as his client. So they get into an argument about, and then it's pretty much she doesn't want anything to do with her anymore. I forget what.
Because she's stupid. She comes in there and she had him arrange a deal with the D888. Mm-hmm. So the problem is she's going to dip on this deal, which puts Marco in a bad position because it makes it look like he aided and abetted her escape. And he says to her, why would you bring me into this? Why would you have me do all of this if you're just going to run for it? Also, Sonny's going to kill you, stupid. And he's like, he loves me. He's going with me. And she has some kind of crazy brain about it. He never once said he was going with her. I don't know what's going on with that. I
was like, he never said he was leaving with her. So I don't know what idea in her head about this.
Rum. I don't know. Wine.
Yeah.
So, Marco is very much like, I can't believe you pulled me into this just to screw me over. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, is this because I didn't accept you because you're gay? I'm a bad mom, blah, blah, blah. She really just makes the worst choices ever in every conversation she has with any of her children. Mm-hmm. And then she's just like, well, I'm going to go to Belize. I'm not going to die. It's going to be fine. And he's like, if you leave this office, literally, we're done. You are nothing to me. I helped you because you were my mother, and I won't help you again. So good luck with that. Mm-hmm. And then he immediately wants to call the police and turn her in. And I was like, go, Marco, go. And Lucas talks him out of it.
Yes, he did.
You really want
we also have Laura.
Mom to jail? Yes,
Yeah,
she's terrible. Send her to prison. Otherwise, she's going to die, and then you're going to feel guilty that you didn't send her to prison.
right. So we also have Laura arriving at Sonny's house, and she is relieved to learn that he didn't strike a deal with Sidwell for the Piers. Sonny tells Laura he wouldn't start anything up, and he warns her that violence was coming to Port Charles, and he's going to make sure to stop it. So
She was really cute because she did acknowledge that it would have been better for Sonny to get out of the mob in this instance. And
right.
he's like, yeah, but I mean, in the long run, it would have been a terrible decision. And she's like, yeah, it would have.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll talk about Brooklyn and Dante, Gio, the whole ship, Lulu,
Do we have to?
have to
Okay.
unfortunately. But okay, so Brooklyn and Marco are meeting once again. Dante shows up and then Marco heads out. Dante wants to work together with Brooklyn to try to reach Gio, but she feels that they have to be patient. At the Metro Court, Gio shows Rocco and Danny the ropes on their first day at the pool.
Very funny. Very cute. Loved it.
Lulu is there in her little hat, and she looked ridiculous.
That was funny. Come on. She was there semi-incognito to spy on her son. It was hilarious.
Yeah, she's spying on her son.
That was a very Laura thing to do.
She embarrasses them, though, watching him work. Which was
of course she does. But it's their first day of a real job. Of course she's going to do that.
Right. So Tracy arrives, and Lulu pushes her to give Rocco a big tip. Gio has to scold Danny and Rocco on a few things, including their attempt to get in the pool after their shift, which was really funny. So Tracy ends up taking Rocco and Danny home before Dante shows up, hoping for a moment alone with Gio. And he doesn't even apologize to Gio. It was just like, you want to hang out and I forget, go to a concert or something?
Look, some of us apologize and some of us pretend nothing happened and try to move forward. And Dante's one of those because he was just like, hey, I know this one thing about you, that you like music. So do you want to go to this concert with me and your whatever, with Rocco? And Gio's just like, what even is this? Like, what even is this?
I definitely don't blame him.
I don't. It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think I think Dante should apologize for being an ass when Rocco had alcohol poisoning.
He should have. But I don't think. I don't know.
But he can apologize to Jason later. He just can't apologize to Gio, which
I don't know if Dante knows what he's doing.
No.
I don't think so. I think he's just like, I still think he thinks he was justified yelling at Gio about what happened to Rocco. So he's not going to apologize for that because he doesn't feel like he did anything wrong. What he does feel bad about is the fact that he yelled at someone who was his son without that person knowing that they were his son. So they would take it a different way, I guess.
I don't know.
But even his apology to Jason was just basically like, hey, man, oops.
Yeah. So we're back at the Q Mansion. Danny and Rocco have come home, and Brooklyn is looking over the birth certificate of Ben Westbourne that Marco delivered. Rocco asks Brooklyn what she was working on. She claims it's a special project. So Rocco and Danny seem curious about what Brooklyn is up to, and she insists that it's private. Jason appears, and he's heard all about Rocco and Danny's first day as pool attendants. Dante also comes home, and he privately apologizes to Jason for being so harsh about his parenting choices before. So Jason accepts his apology. So
Jason's just basically like, sure. Like, one of the big things about Jason is like these people come and they get in his face and they yell at him, and he's just like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, if Jason actually cared, he'd shove you up against the wall and threaten you. Otherwise, he just is unmoved. And I thought that was like a hilarious, like Dante did all this stuff. He did all this mental work, which he should. And he was just like, I didn't understand. You were trying a different parenting method, blah, 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 blah. And Jason's like, yup, sure. Like, he doesn't give a crap what Dante thinks of him. He never has.
Yeah. So Danny's moving some things around on the table where Brooklyn was working before, and he notices the file with Rocco's name on it, and then he points it out to Rocco. So that's a cliffhanger that didn't get answered in the next episode. episode, so I don't know what's happening with that. We'll see next week, I guess.
I think they're going to wait on that. I think it would be too soon to come across with that because I think you're going to see the boys maybe looking through it. Time is weird on General Hospital, so they might flash back to the boys reading the information at a later date.
Right. So we're at the Metricore pool again. Lulu advises Lucas to find out how close Marco and Sidwell were because she knows about the whole situation with Lucky and she's worried about Lucas. But Lucas downplays her concerns.
Yes, he does because he's like, Sidwell is a person and Marco is an actually entirely separate human being. And he brings up the point of like, what would everybody say about our relationships to our perspective, criminal parents? And Sonny and Julian and even Luke was mostly like sometimes a criminal.
Yeah.
That nobody is a good person on these shows.
So then we have the drunk guy hitting on Lulu, and then we didn't see it, but he fell into the pool, and Gio had to rescue him, and he got thrown out of the Mentor court. So Gio and Lulu are bonding about this, and Brooklyn sees them together, and I felt so bad for her. She's poking her head around. She's crying. She's angry, and she's
because it looks like Lulu is easily stealing the relationship that she wanted to have with Gio.
Exactly.
Because she and Gio were friends before all of this fallout, and they had a relationship that Lulu destroyed. And now, in her eyes, Lulu is usurping that relationship that should be hers.
And that's horrible.
But yeah, it is. Also, though, I think they were just bonding over a stupid moment that happened at the pool. And Gio he still hasn't processed anything yet. So he's only talking to Lulu because Lulu apologized to him.
Yeah.
Take a hint, Dante. You should have started with an apology. And if he's not ready to hear your apology, then you apologize again until he's ready to hear it. You wait, try again, or you wait and have him come to you. Like, these people are putting so much pressure on the relationship with Gio that Gio is automatically shutting it down.
Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about Liz, Christina, Alexis, Rick, and Ava.
I love Liz.
So at Alexis's law office, Christina admits to her that Lucky blabbed the truth to Elizabeth. Christina points out that Liz is not going to say anything. So Alexis pushes Christina to give up on this ridiculous scheme with Cody, but she refuses.
Because she never thinks anything through.
So Christina also points out, very oddly enough, she had a great point when she said that she didn't think it was a good idea to tell Elizabeth about Rick and Ava's blackmail plot. Words of wisdom from Christina.
You know what? Broken clock.
So Christina and Cody meet, and then she urges him to drop the news to Ava that Lucky has left town. Christina knows Ava wouldn't like the fact that Rick didn't tell her. Christina feels confident in her plan, and she has noticed Rick sniffling around Elizabeth, and Ava will not stand to be second best. Which is
not wrong.
No. Cody just had to make sure that Ava saw that she had better options. So Laura visits the gallery, and she notices Ava was drinking some berry juice or something.
They're all drinking the dragon fruit juice.
Is that what it is? Is dragon fruit?
Yeah, because it looks like a pink refresher from a well-known brand.
Yeah. So,
but they're all drinking dragon fruit, and it comes up that was what Rick gets everyone hooked on it.
Rick got everyone hooked on it, and then Laura points out that Liz was drinking it when she was over her house the other day, and then Ava is suspicious of this, so she calls Rick assistance on the phone, and she makes up something about, and she finds out that Rick supposedly went to Beecher's Corner that day for a case of death.
She says she lost something. I think she said her watch, and the last time she remembers having it was the day Rick went to Beecher's Corners, but she wasn't sure what day that was. It was a very nice, neat, clean story, and it worked.
Yeah. And she calls him a lying liar, which is great.
A lying liar who lies. I love Ava. Okay. Oh, and that animal photographer we had last year is going to be back this year. She offers Laura tickets. Laura takes the tickets, but she says she might not be able to go, but Liz might. And that's what led into the conversation.
Yes, that's right.
Ava's not having a good day at the gallery, I must say.
Not at all. So then Cody shows up and he offers to hang art for Ava's new exhibit. And then Cody tells her about his childhood experience with art and then manages to work into the conversation that Lucky has left the country. So he's doing what Christina told him to do.
Yeah, because they found out, like, she got a call while she was talking to him that the people who always come and set up her art shows, oh no, can't set up the art show. Perfect opening for Cody. Also, I do think Cody actually likes Ava.
I do too. I think he's starting to like.
She's likable.
Yes.
Evil, but likable.
Evil, but likable. Yes.
Yeah.
So Cody. Oh, sorry. So we're at the hospital now. Elizabeth tells Rick that she doesn't have time to talk, but she points out that he's there for a client. He was there to see Martin, which we talked about earlier. Since Rick has been visiting Liz so often lately, she just jumped to the wrong conclusion. Elizabeth eventually talks to Lucas about this, and she's worried that she's leading Rick on. And Alexis tracks Liz down to the hospital. She wants to speak to her privately. Elizabeth confirms that she won't say anything about Christina. And then Alexis is grateful, especially since she knew her daughter would deserve to be in prison, which I was surprised Alexis said that. I didn't think she did think that.
I think Alexis is really angry about the blackmail situation that Christina kind of backed her into without giving her any warning or anything, just kind of got her into this scenario. And the thing is, Alexis just got her law license back, and this could rip it away from her again. So Christina's thoughtlessness has put both Molly and Alexis into bad spots.
Since Elizabeth even says that she thinks Christina learned her lesson, which I was like, I don't think so. But okay.
I don't ever think Christina can learn when it comes to this sort of thing. No. She's too impulsive. So she may think she's learned a lesson, but when push comes to shove, she's going to do another impulsive thing.
But Liz mentions that Rick seems like lighter and happier, and this is where Alexis had the urge to tell her about the blackmail, but she decided not to eventually. And then Rick appears nearby and spies on the conversation, and he's wondering what's up. So that's where we left off with that. So we're back with Marco. He talks to Lucas on the phone. They made plans to be at the pool together. Rocco asks Lucas about Britt and her time at General Hospital, and Lucas asks him why, and he says she came up in a case he's working on. So
and there is kind of like a little mention of like, Brad and Britt were best friends. So
yes. Mm-hmm. So we talked about the Natalia and Marco.
The Natalia of it all.
Natalia, well, this is when he comes into her office and they have that argument. But okay. So then after that, we're at Windermere and Sidwell examines photos of Sonny's family members. And then we're at Sonny's now, and Sonny gives Carly news on his refusal to sell the Piers to Sidwell. Carly is still worried about Sidwell being a threat to their family.
She's not wrong.
But she's also worried about Natalia turning against Sonny. Sidwell talks to Ezra. We saw Ezra this week for a little bit about the failed peer negotiations, and he suggests that he needs to motivate Sonny to sell, give him a public reminder about him being a thug. Ezra says he doesn't want to be involved, but Sidwell turns menacing and gets him on board. So then Natalia stops by with updates on her fight with Marco. Sidwell warns her that he wouldn't help Natalia fix things. She has proven over and over again that she does not love their son.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? You are a bad parent, and I'm a mobster. So me saying that is double bad for you.
Right. It was so funny.
Every time it's like, okay, he's a bad person, but he's a good dad.
He is a good dad. He accepts his son with no condition.
He doesn't care. He even wants him to work for him and join the family business.
Right.
Although the family business is the mob. But what are you going to do?
Exactly. It is what it is.
Importing and exporting business.
Yeah, right. Okay, so now we're at the day of the christening. Jocelyn understands when Michael tells her that Felicia's going to be the godmother of the baby, which I thought was a weird way he said it. He's like, I need you to understand why you're not the godmother. I was like, that's weird. Weird way to put it.
And she's like, Okay. Like, really, he
Right?
should have been like, Sasha picked the godmother. That would have been the end of the
That's all they
conversation.
had to say. Yeah, it was just a weird pivot.
But the other parent does get a choice in the godparents as well, right?
Right. So Michael and Jocelyn talk about Willow and Drew's impending marriage, and Jocelyn urges him to not let Willow ruin Daisy's day.
Yep.
That was cute.
Because there was a suggestion that Willow should go because Wiley wanted his mother there. And Jocelyn's like, no. Because
So,
she'd want to bring Drew and she'd want to cause problems, blah, blah.
right. So we're at the church now, and Carly and Jason talk about when the Quartermains crashed, Michael's christening. That was cute. That was a good throwback. I enjoyed that.
Like, 'cause they weren't invited.
They're not invited. Well, when does that stop the Quartermains? Never.
Quartermains are not vampires. They can show up wherever they want, whenever they want, and they often do.
But Carly predicts there are going to be no crashers today, and she is dead wrong about that. So Carly remains on the edge of. Okay, so she is. What's that right here? Jason assures her that Sonny's men has everything under control and that there should be no crashers. So if anyone tried to make a move, Jason insists they'll be stopped. So next we have Natalia summoning Brooklyn to her suite, where she admits there could be an issue with Sonny's investments not being clean. And it was so funny. She was chugging wine the whole time during this scene. I thought it was really funny.
Lord, she was crazy because when they came in, they were like, "You need to leave faster."
Mm-hmm.
She was drunk then too, wasn't she? She's just drunk the whole episode.
It was just so funny. It was like
it is. It's a shame Natalia finally got interesting in her.
I know, and her scene where she realized that Sonny wasn't going with her, that she did great. I was really impressed with her.
This has never been about Eva LaRue's talent. She's a talented woman. It's just a poorly written character.
Mm-hmm. And she did a great job, Eva LaRue. But so Brooklyn wonders why Natalia is admitting all this now. So Natalia reflected on all her mistakes, especially the ones she made with her children. And that was also a great scene.
But she can't say any of that to her children?
No, but I don't understand that.
Because she still doesn't think they should be gay.
I guess not.
Because why wouldn't you have just said to Marco, like, I can learn?
Yeah, tolerance is something you need to do.
Be like, I'll go to a shrink. I'll read a book. I'll grow up.
Yeah, so we're at Sonny's house. Turner shows up with a box that was sent to her anonymously. Apparently, Sonny sent her a baseball mitt. But Turner says she can't accept bribes, and she gives it back to him. So I don't know if it's implied that Sonny sent it. I don't know if he actually did.
I think so. Look at ADA Turner, and who does she look like?
Who does she look like? Natalia?
She looks like Brenda. She's tiny. She's dark. She's his type. So immediately he started flirting with her the other day. And this is the only way. This is the only way he knows how to get the cops off his trail is he just flirts with them until they fall in love with him.
Yeah, I guess she does look a lot like Brenda. I never thought.
She does. Well, I mean, nobody looks like Vanessa Marcel other than her, but it's his type. Even Lily looked like that. Tiny, dark haired,
Right. So Christina shows up and joins the conversation, and she's very nervous that Turner is there. So then Turner leaves, and then Sonny assures Christina that everything's fine, and then he makes a private phone call. Turner's visit seemed to rattle Sonny, and he's forced to make a change of plans for Natalia. She has to leave right now.
Yep.
So this is when Natalia has her little breakdown when the guard tells her that she has to leave now.
The way she talks to that guard is like she 150% believed that Sonny was going with her. That he was going to abandon like all the generations of his family and just start over in Belize with her. And he never said that.
Why would he do that? That makes no sense. I don't understand where this thought
process. It took her a while too to realize that she made that up in her head too.
He must have. I don't understand where Sonny never said anything about that.
That guard was just like, "You're supposed to get on a plane and go to Belize." I don't know anything. Mr. Corinthos has 800 legal businesses here.
Yeah, why would he leave it all for you?
No, if he was leaving town, he'd go to the island in Puerto Rico. He's not going to be.
Right, exactly.
Who would go there anyway? This doesn't make any sense. Some guy you had a falling out with is going to send you to Belize. to start over and no one's ever going to know where you are, that's when you get murdered. There's no self-preservation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is happening to this woman? What is going to happen?
I don't know. So at the church, Sunny, Michael, Felicia, Brooklyn, and Chase all arrive. It was mentioned that Mac wasn't going to be there, and I was sad.
I'm always sad when Mac's not there.
Yeah.
Do you think Mac would want to go to the Quartermaine mansion with like Sunny there and all that? He would have such a migraine, the poor dear.
He would have a migraine. You're right about that.
Because he loves Sasha, and having her be related to the Quartermaines is hard enough.
Well, you know what was really funny? Carly pointed, and I didn't even think about this till she pointed out that the baby was a Corinthos, a Quartermaine,
not a Corinthos.
Well, you're right.
Not a Corinthos.
A Quartermaine, a Scorpio, and a Spencer. Is that correct?
Technically a Corinthos through kidnapping.
Great.
Well, we stand AJ's rights in this house.
Yeah, so Quartermaine is Spencer and a
technically a Corinthos.
Scorpio. Okay.
Really more of a Spencer and a Scorpio and a Quartermaine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
3 major houses.
Yes. So Brooklyn pulls Chase aside for a private moment, and she says that Deception is in trouble, and she doesn't know how she's going to break the news to Maxie. So Chase realizes that this is about Sunny's not so clean investment. He tells Brooklyn to shut up. He doesn't need to know about this.
Because he's doing an investigation, and if he learns anything, he has to use it. So she can't tell him nothing.
Mm-hmm. So then we have Anna confronting Turner about this Sunny and then some Sunny-related info.
Somebody left a file folder out, and Anna read it.
Right, and it was actually meant for Chase, but Anna reads enough into it, and she's going to run an investigation through her department without her involvement. So Turner points out that Anna can't be trusted when it comes to Sunny.
And Anna points out that she's going to internal affairs.
Yes, she did.
So she did not roll over for 88 Turner. So
no, I'm glad she did. So we're back at the church, and then Sunny speaks to Jason and lets him know that Turner is sniffing around, and she had to tell the guard to pick up Natalia early. So if Sunny had communicated this to Natalia, maybe things would have turned out differently. I don't know. We'll see. But so the guard makes his way to Natalia's door. She opens it, and then she ends up leaving. She's not going to police. And then she comes to the christening, and then she sits down on a pew and glares at Sunny. So that's how we ended the week.
She was so delusional. It was so interesting to watch. Perfect performance. It was so interesting to watch her when the guy shows up and says, basically, you have an hour to get packed and we're out. And she's like, well, what's going on? Where's Sunny and all this? And it's like, as the minutes go by, it dawns on her, and she's just like, did I make all of that up in my head? And you can watch everything turning, and it was just really good. And then she looks in the hallway, and she sees nobody's there, so she just grabs her purse and makes a run for it.
Yeah.
What does she think she's going to accomplish over there at this christening?
Yeah. Interesting.
It is interesting. It was a good week.
Yeah, it was. A lot of
stuff happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was. All right, anything to add or anything I missed?
I think Kai is just heading for a big fall because, listen, Drew's only so loyal as long as you're useful to him. So this is a waste of Kai's time to be this loyal to someone who's going to stab you in the back. And I think that sucks for him. But it's also going to destroy his relationship with Trina, most likely, which is fine by me because I keep hoping Spencer will come back. You're never dead. Never dead. I don't like this storyline with Brooklyn and the file on Britt. I know this is some way to get Britt back or whatever they're doing with that. But when Rocco found that file, it's like, did he really deserve that? Because are we just going to hurt the children to get to the parents now? Is that what we're doing with these adults?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that either.
Yeah.
Also, Laura needs more airtime. Let's give Laura something to do.
Agreed. All right, everyone. Well, Karen and I are going to head over to Patreon. We're going to discuss some speculation. We also have a clip of the week to watch. The nominees this week are Lucy tries to convince Sunny to sell the Piers with oranges. Brooklyn cries over Lulu and Gia. That was really sad. Michael and Willow's confrontation and the press conference with Drew and Tracy. So please join us on Patreon and we will find out who wins. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.